Hi guys, welcome to Therapy Fridays, the podcast. Today I have with me Janet Martin. Yes, she is a business owner. She is the CEO and founder of Beauty and Brains in Chicago. She is also a travel agent and she is a student and she's a businesswoman. And I'm just super excited to get into this conversation today.
I'm excited too. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Happy to be here.
Of course, thank you. So really today we're gonna get into a conversation just about the journey of going through grief when you're going through your transitional period, and really want to see what comes from this conversation, because I feel like I've been watching you and I'm just like she knows she knows. I feel like I see God has worked through you through your journey, and it's just really inspiring, and I feel like it's really important to stay close to people like that and just like pick brains and just, see what you can get from somebody else's journey. So I'm excited.
I love that, and thank you, because I've been saying that all week. I feel like God has just been working through me, and people been giving me my accolades all week. Like, wow, I can see God's spirit shining through, and I'm like, oh, is this my week? Like, is this the time I get to share the knowledge through all the pain and transition periods? Yeah. I don't know, but I'm happy to be here. I'm excited.
So thank you for being here. So before we even get into all that, I just want to start doing icebreakers. In the beginning of the podcast, but specifically today, since I know we both just got back from a trip, I want to know not just how your trip was. I feel like everybody asks, like, how was your trip? I seen on TikTok.
Everybody asks, how was your trip? I'm tired of answering that question.
I showed my mom on the way to the airport. I'm like, Ma, do you see where they're staying? She's like, oh my gosh. I said, exactly.
All right,
let me get a plane. So I want to ask, instead of just how was your trip, 2 roses and 1 thorn for your trip. So, like, 2 good things, 1 bad thing.
Okay, see, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 good things, 1 bad thing. The first rose is honestly just being there with my family, for real. Like, I feel like it was such a good vibe. Like, we did not want to leave. We're like, we could just buy this house and all just stay here. It was 11 of us there. Okay. And it was enough space for us to all be in our own element, but also still come together. So it was a lot of nights. We had movie nights or sitting there by the fire. It was just a very family-oriented trip, which I loved a lot. And then second good thing was the safari. That's what I went there for. I haven't even posted that one yet, so
I'm waiting because I was gonna ask.
It was the safari, and I loved seeing it. The elephants was the unexpected star show. Like, loved them so much. Didn't expect to love that, but downside to the trip, the water pressure in the house, like in the water. When we taking a shower, it would get cold so fast. Like, within like 5 minutes, the water
tank is.
Yeah, the water is cold. And then like maybe 5 minutes later, it might get hot again, but it's cold. Like, and I love a long hot shower. So that was a real interruption to my, my daily meditation in the shower. So that was my only downfall though. Like, and I kind of ignored it.
That's a good downfall though.
Like, right?
I can live with that.
Okay,
I can live with that.
I love my showers, but I just accepted I'm in Africa. Shoot, I guess I don't need to have no long shower here. Let me get out and get outside.
Exactly. In the field.
Okay.
Period. Okay, I love that. No, it looked like definitely like a good, refreshing trip. So I'm definitely happy for you that you experienced that with your family. So like I really wanted to get into today mainly was your journey with medical school. I'm almost positive that I probably did see it like before we had a conversation. I think it was probably around this time last year. Actually.
I think it was
around this time last year. I saw your journey, but I feel like once I talked to you and you actually was like, yeah, like I quit med school, like I'm like, I feel like I've done some bold things in my life, but I feel like that is so bold. So I just kind of want to like pick your brain and just like hear about like your journey, like what made you decide to quit med schools. I feel like I feel like I'm in school right now. Some days do I want to quit? Yes, but I feel like to actually be like, okay, this isn't for me, like that's way different. So I want to know like, what was the journey of like making that decision? And then I kind of do want to get into like, did you have like a period of grief?
Okay.
So
okay. This is good, but I will say yes, I dropped out of med school, but starting from where I'm at right now, I can say that it was the greatest decision I ever made. So let's start at the beginning of me just even going into med school and making that kind of my life plan. As you're growing up, you don't really know what you want to do, what you want to be, and you kind of have these ideals. So I was always smart in school. I was always good at science. And I don't know if my mom planted the seed in my head or if I did or if society did, just because being a doctor is a prestigious career and you can do it. I can do whatever I put my mind to. Cool. So I just always grew up like, I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a doctor. And like for a long time, school was good. I will say honestly though, I didn't like school from like 7th grade. I was good at school and I made sure to get it done, but school was always like the bane of my existence. Like I gotta study, I gotta do all this. And it's not that I don't like studying. I think it was like the time constraints and being on somebody else's schedule and all that. Whatever. Aside from the point, I just knew I was always gonna be a doctor. But when I got to college, people started having this conversation about follow your passion and do what you're passionate about. And yeah, I knew I was going to be a doctor, but I literally always said, like, I don't have passion. I have no idea what passion even is, what it feels like. Yeah. Like, I think they're making this up. Like, I literally.
This must be a joke.
Yeah, like, in my mind, they're making this up. It's just a cliche thing to say to follow your passion, because I don't have passion for this. Like, I'm doing it because I have to, and I'm getting it done. And, you know, I find enjoyable moments in it. I make it fun. I do it with my friends. Like, we have little study parties. Cool. Finding ways to make it good, but am I passionate about it? Did it like light me on fire? Am I excited to do this every day? No, but honestly, I didn't even know that could exist. So I'm just going through the motions. So fast forward, I graduate college. I ended up enrolling in a master's program, doing that whole thing, and then I get accepted to med school. Cool. I was very excited initially. As soon as I got accepted, but then I think it was literally 10 minutes later, I had the doom and gloom, like, oh my God. I got to do this every day for the next, like, 4 years and then more. But it was like, okay, this is my life. Like, this is what I signed up for. You know, I'm excited to do this. But once I got into med school, same thing. I'm studying. I'm doing what I got to do. I'm making the most of it. I'm having fun, like, trying my best to have fun. But I'm also living my life outside of school. And mind you, I started Beauty and Brains when I first graduated college. And that's a conversation for a different time of what I was going through that led to the birth of Beauty and Brains. But started Beauty and Brains, so now I do have passion. Now I'm finding, like, passion does exist. I'm super excited to do this, but even though I'm looking at this as, like, my main goal, being a doctor is, like, the societal priority. Like, you got to be a doctor first. You got to do this first. Like, you can't rely on Beauty and Brains and doing nonprofit work. And what is this even going to turn into? Go ahead.
I was going to say, for that, I feel like that's, like, huge. So I just wanted to ask real quick, like, do you feel like that is like a big society thing that they make you feel like I feel like a lot of people have like passion projects or like side hustles that are really like the main thing that really keeps them going, but like they feel like they have to have a job or they feel like they have to do something that they feel like is more secure. You know what I mean?
And I feel like that's 100% like the way society has made it out to be. And I'm not saying it's easy to escape that because we have so many things we have to keep up with. Like, we got to pay bills. You got to have money. You got to do all these things. You don't have... I'm going to be real and say people don't have enough faith to be able, like, I'm going to walk out and just do what I know my spirit is telling me to do.
Yeah.
And just do that. Like, we have so many other pressures and things we got to accomplish.
That's
and,
a big
you know, you want to have a title. You want to do all these things. But to have enough faith to be like, okay, forget all of that. I'm going to just do what my spirit is leading me to. Yeah, society stands in the way of that.
What do you feel like gave you that faith? Because I feel like a lot of people know stuff, but it's like, I feel like I tell people all the time, like, being self-aware, like, that's only one part of it. You can know anything.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with that? So, like, what made you be like, okay, yeah, I know this, but what made that, like, that faith really, like, come in, basically?
Yeah, and I'm going to say first it takes time, but mainly it's getting to know God and getting to know yourself for real. So when I'm in med school, I'm going through the emotions or whatever, and I started having these thoughts of, I should drop out. Like, I hate this so much. I literally hate my life. Like, yeah, I'm making the most of it. I'm finding ways to enjoy it, but I'm literally miserable every time exam season comes up, every time anything is happening. I don't get to live my life outside of this. Like, I'm irritated when I got to talk to people. I just studied all day. Don't call me. I can't talk to my friends. Can't talk to my family.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just feeling like I'm dissociated from the world. And it's getting worse and worse because, you know, as you go through med school, like, you got to either lock in or get the heck out. So I'm going through emotions. And there was a lot of times that I debated it. And at first, I didn't take myself serious. I would just be like, I'm going to drop out. And it was a joke. And then I started taking it a little more serious. Like, maybe I will start making pros and cons lists. One time I even called my dad. Like, I'm like, okay. This kind of real, like, how would you feel if I said I was dropping out of med school? Like, what if I didn't want to do this? And I'm crying and everything. And this was like a year maybe 2 years before I even did it. And so he had me make a pros and cons list too. And then every time I reason myself out, though, I'm like, you can't do beauty and brains if you don't have the title of a doctor, because that's what people are looking to you for. People see that you got into med school, and that's how they're going to know that you're smart when you have this title. You just got to get to that point. Or it was like, being a doctor, you're going to have the security, so you're going to be able to do what you want, do beauty and brains full time once you have the security of being a doctor. And so I'm making new life plans. And okay, by this time, I'm going to retire at 35. And never did I want to be a doctor in my plans. It was just like, how do I finish so that I can do what I actually really want? And so, so it was a lot of journaling, a lot of prayer, a lot of finding myself in God, a lot of Bible plans. Bible plans was a 10 out of 10. Like, I still look back at Bible plans. Do your Bible plans every day, okay? Like,
get on that Bible app.
Get on the Bible app and do your Bible plans. I still look back at my notes. They come up now for me in 2019 and 2020 and what I was learning about God during that time. And I remember, like, it's certain verses about faith, and I'm, like, still working on this daily back in 2019, and now it's, like, it's second nature. Like,
it's like,
I don't doubt things at all. So, getting to that point, and so the thing that made me finally make this decision was I got so depressed. Like, let me rewind before that. Because I took a leave of absence first. I took it during the 2020 pandemic. And I will say that pandemic, it was bad in a lot of ways, but it did so much good for the world. Though. It propelled so many people into their purpose-driven work and into doing the things that they love. And actually being able to see that life doesn't have to be the way that we thought it was.
Because, like, clearly, life is going to do what it wants to do.
Life is going to do what it does anyway, so
I might as well make the most of it.
Might as well enjoy these moments. So, the 2020 pandemic, I ended up taking a leave of absence because I had a lot of stuff going on, just dealing with the Black Lives Matter stuff. We was beauty and brains, we was protesting, we was in the streets. That had lit a fire in me that I didn't even know was in me. Like, I used to always say, I'm not passionate, I'm apolitical, I don't care about none of that stuff. No, during that season, I'm 10 toes, I'm in the streets. I feel like during that time anyway, though, it was like, it was too much stuff going. It's like, okay, I can't sit back. I can't sit back.
So I get it.
I can't sit back. So I remember I sent the whole email to my medical school like, hey, like, I don't like the fact that y'all haven't addressed this. And I'm not saying y'all have to do anything about it. Or we were about to take exams when I think George Floyd got killed. So it was a whole lot going on. Yeah, it was like the next day or something. It was like, y'all didn't even send out an email. So I remember I sent the whole email to my school. They ended up delaying our exams. Even though that's not what I was asked for. I was grateful they did that.
But you're right. But, I mean, but I feel like I feel like so much stuff is a lot in itself. So it's like when outside things are making something even more intense, it's like, how do you want me to stay focused when someone who looks like me has just been killed because they look like me?
Exactly what I'm saying. I'm like, the whole reason I'm doing this is to give back to my community. So the fact that y'all can't even make an address to our student body, just because it's not doesn't affect the majority of us, cool.
Doesn't affect anyone.
Right, doesn't mean it doesn't affect the rest of us. Like, we dealing with this heavily. So after that, I ended up taking a leave of absence, and my school was very, like, I will say, SIU Med School was the greatest decision I ever had. And I can tell so many stories about how God works, but I'm not going to stay on track here. But I know, but right, we're going to have to come back and talk about the other stuff. But I ended up taking this leave of absence, and dang, what was I just saying?
You took the leave of absence from school, and that was around exam time.
Okay, so I took the leave of absence. Oh, and my school was super nice about it. So they told me, like, you don't even have to come back and repeat, like, what you did already in the first year. You can just come back and finish what you didn't finish. So I ended up getting a whole bunch of months off of school. So this is my first taste of not being in school. I've been in school my whole life. Like,
so you said, we outside.
Okay, like, this is my first time ever getting a taste of life outside of med school. And then I had the security of, I know I'm going back. Like, I know that I start back school, so it was just a very freeing time. And I tell everybody, like, that was the greatest time of my life. I love my life. And then I started school again. So went back to school, going through the motions. It's still pandemic time a little bit, so we're still not in person. And then second year started, so this is now 2021. Second year started, so that's last year. Well, it was 2 years ago now, but it was fall 2021.
Right.
And so I started my second year, and during this time, this is when I moved to Springfield, because second year med school is in Springfield. And it's when I got my car, everything. I'm still getting my stipend for my scholarship for med school, everything. And I feel like God honestly orchestrated this whole thing just to get me to that place, get me settled and get me in there. And then it just all hit me. Now I'm super depressed. I'm in counseling every day. Like, I can't do this. I don't know why I can't study. I'm thinking it's my ADHD. Like, what's wrong? Like, I've been doing this my whole life. Like, I can force myself to study. Why is it now not working? Why can't I get myself to do the things I know that I need to do?
Do you? Okay.
No, ask your question.
I was going to say, because I feel like that, like, kind of resonates with me. Because I feel like, even, like, right now, I'm like, why can I not, like, focus or just do the tasks that I need to do? So do you feel like when people are feeling like that that's something that they should, like, lean into, I guess? Or, because I feel like, obviously, lean into it. So I guess that's not, like, my question. But I feel like sometimes you just think that I'm just in school. I'm just lazy. Like, I just have senioritis. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you from a personal standpoint, then apply it to you because it's going to make sense. But I was praying every day, journaling. I read my journals now. Like, God, help me focus. Help me refine my motivation in school. Help me find my why again. Like, I'm going with what you're saying. Like, I'm just being lazy. I'm just not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I have to get back focused. I have to figure out what it is that's motivating me. And then I remember one day I was just praying. I was sitting down. I was meditating. And it just literally came to my mind, like, drop out. And I hadn't had this thought at this point in like 6 months. Not that it was that long, but it's been like 6 months.
It's like, okay, it's gone.
Right, but then this time it's like, drop out. And it just felt serious. And I'm like, should I just drop out? And then I started reading the same pros and cons as I was doing before. And everything suddenly now made sense. It's like, oh, before I'm like, I can't do beauty and brains if I don't get this doctorate degree because how are they going to take me seriously? Then it was like, no, beauty and brains is all about helping people to walk authentically in their purpose. They're going to listen to you even more because you're living that truth. Like, you're boldly stepping away from something that is a secure career, a prestigious career. And you're so every pro and con I had before, like, suddenly all those cons made sense. And I think just trust God because the timing isn't always right. He might be preparing you for something that you're not ready to do just yet. Like, I had that thought about dropping out years prior,
but you did see. That's good because I feel like that's so good because I feel like sometimes it's like, even for me, I quit my job in January. Like, I probably started having thoughts about wanting to quit in August, but I'm like you said, I'm starting to realize it's like God's timing is always. I can argue this all the time, even when like I'm in doubt. It's like, you got to go back and remember God's timing is always right. Because it's like, in that moment, you can quit, right? But it's like, are you that person who will be able to even handle and endure the things that he has for you after you quit? You know what I mean?
And I think God the whole time is preparing you to be the person you need to be when you step out. And so I will say, once I had made that decision that, okay, I think I'm going to drop out, I started telling my counselor, and even she was like supportive. She's like, low-key, that might be good for you. Like, it sounds like that's what you need. You're depressed. Like, it sounds like that's what you need. But then I started talking to school counselors. Obviously, they're all, no, like, you're just depressed. This is depression brain talking. Like, you don't actually want to do this. Let's just give you another leave of absence. Like, let's do it that way. And I'm like, no, I want to quit for real. But, I decided to take the easy route. Like, okay, I'm going to just take this leave of absence. I'm watching. This is still, like, arbitrary decision. I haven't fully decided. I'm keeping it a secret from my parents, from everybody. I'm just, so the grief period you asked about, like, I feel like this is when I went through it. Like, every day I'm waking up, I'm crying. I'm like, I think I'm grieving, like, this life that I thought I wanted for myself, and now I'm starting to see the vision of a different life I got for myself. Yeah. But I don't see it fully. I'm just like, I can do beauty and brains, and this is what I want to do. This is what makes me happy. Like, I just want to follow my energy. I just want to do what I want to do every day. And I'm watching this Crazy Faith series by Michael Todd. So that was a great series. So watch that sermon. Yeah, watch that sermon. And the book, girl, I was going to say next. I read the book afterwards. Okay. And so the whole time I'm going through all the motions. I ended up actually during that time, God was just speaking to me. That was when he had his Crazy Faith Giving. And so I ended up taking a solo trip by myself. Didn't tell nobody except my sister. Flew to Oklahoma to go to this Crazy Faith Giving. And I'm just like, okay, God, I need answers. I need to know if this is what I need to do. The whole time, I talk to my mom all the time, but I'm ignoring her. I haven't talked to this lady in days. So she keeps calling. Okay, no disrespect, but I'm like, I gotta make this decision for me right now, and I know she goes.
Quiet sometimes.
You need to quiet the noise.
Because I feel like sometimes, like when you're making a decision, like sometimes you can't. in that moment, you can't tell people that, okay, it's either this or that, because sometimes people will do it not even on purpose, but they will give you advice based on what they feel like is best, what they think is best for you.
Exactly, and that's what most people are going to do, and it's not that they have malicious intent or anything, it's just they're speaking from their own mindset and their own, I'm not going to,
that's
limited
fine.
mindsets, yeah.
But,
it's just like,
gotta quiet the noise.
Exactly. And so,
God only.
Exactly. So during this season, I'm learning to have this crazy faith, how to trust in God, how to, walk out on faith. So I went to this crazy faith giving by myself. I ended up meeting all these people. We praying together, crying together, girl. I got all the confirmation I needed. So I'm leaving Oklahoma, and I'm like, okay, I'm for real now. Like, I'm really doing this. And I think I called my parents that night and let them know. My mom was pissed. She was so upset. She was so mean. But I remember the best advice I got was when I told my best friend afterwards, and he was like, I'm gonna give you some advice. He like, don't tell nobody else this until you're fully confident in your decision. Because if you're not confident,
that's the word though.
It was, girl, it stuck with me, and it stuck with me for everything. Like, if you're not, don't tell nobody else until you're fully confident in this decision. Because look, I'm behind you, I support you, but you sound doubtful. So if you sound doubtful right now, I'm gonna have my doubts as well. Yeah. Don't tell nobody else until you can stand up. And I literally...
That's good, though.
It was. I was like, that's what I needed to hear. You right. And I had to...
Because it's easy.
Yeah.
Because I feel like... I feel like it's so cliche. Like, you heard... Like, he said what he said, but I feel like you really have to be... And that's something I've been working on, too. You have to be confident. I feel like sometimes you make a decision, but you're still not even confident in that decision. And now when you're talking to other people, and
that doubt is spilling through.
That doubt is spilling through, or now they're projecting onto you, or now they're saying something that might make sense because you're not
exactly. And now you
like, oh,
debating your decision. Now you conflicted. Like, you got to be really secure in your decision and God and what you decide before. So from that moment, I didn't tell nobody else. Like, I'm like, I need some more time with God, clearly, because I'm not confident. I'm not convinced. Like, I'm not convinced. Like, I gotta fully get to that point. And I think it was one day that I was like, okay, I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna pretend that I'm not in school. It was a school day. I had school. I just skipped all my classes, didn't do no studying. And I'm like, I'm gonna just pretend I'm not in med school. What does my day look like? Girl, it was the greatest day ever. I got up. I went for a walk. I went to the gym. Like, I cooked. Like, it was literally like I meditated. It was just like a day really catering to my spirit. Like, I just felt so good. And I was just like, yeah, God, this is supposed to be my life. Like, I'm not supposed to be on the grind and working so hard and doing all these things. I'm not saying working hard is bad, but when you work hard, your spirit leads you there. Like, if that's what you're supposed to be doing, like, yeah, it may be hard work, but I don't think the hard work is ever hard. It's just work.
Exactly. I feel like that is the difference. Because like you said, I feel like certain things seem more harder because it's not for you.
It's not for you. You're trying to live.
Go there.
God didn't send you there. Your mind sent you there. What you thought made sense and all of that. So it's a lot harder than it is. You're going against your energy. Like, I think the greatest quote that sticks with me is follow the path of least resistance. Because when you really live your life by that, and in every decision, like, okay, what's the least resistance right now for my body, for my spirit? Like, what do I want to do? Do that, and it's going to lead you to where you need to go. But it comes with having faith and really developing that faith. So that's going to take it's time, and give the time some time and get to know God. Like, the whole time, I feel like God just be working on your spirit to a point that it just becomes natural within you. Like, okay, I just trust God wholeheartedly now. Like, it's so many phases and points that I can look at in my past and in my life that I'm like, okay, yeah, my faith was not there at this time, but God was building it up within me. God will literally always, I feel like it's a rite of passage. I tell all my friends, and anybody that listens to me, that God is going to break you down to your lowest point until you have no option but to depend completely on Him. Like,
and I think that's like, people forget like that's not the point, but like that's the point. Like, God has to get the glory out of every single thing. And I feel like when you're going through the motions of whatever is going on in your life, I feel like we forget God has to get the glory. Yes. So you might not understand in that moment, like, why are you taking me through this? Why do I have to experience this so intensely? But it's like, if you don't go through that, God does not get the glory.
Exactly.
You won't understand God in a new way.
You won't even see the way that He works and the way that He's working within you. Like, the peace of mind, only God can give you a certain peace that you have, that you know you're okay through any situation, through any trial, through any tribulation. Like, it can only come from God. And so, like, it's a rite of passage. Growing in yourself and becoming the best version of yourself is you're gonna be broken down to your lowest point. You gotta embrace those seasons. Like, okay, like, God, you working in me right now. Like, I'm hurt, I'm sad, I'm going through this. Like, but that means God is working. Like, that means something deeper is being built, something's going on. Like, I'm not gonna act like it's been easy. I feel like I tell this story now so lightheartedly.
But I feel like that's because you've gone through it though. But I was gonna ask you too, like, because I can see the peace. I feel like even when we talked on the phone, I feel like a year ago, I feel like I felt a peace, and even now speaking to you, I feel a peace. So I was gonna ask, like, when you were going through those things, I feel like sometimes people try to resist their emotions. Mm-hmm. Was that you, or?
I did not, only because I had already learned to let my feelings be feelings. I feel like one of my favorite books is The Power of Now. And they say, it's really good. So in The Power of Now, it just teaches you about being in the present moment. That may be where I got to follow the path of least resistance, because when you're fully focused on the present moment, you're not thinking about the past or the future. Like, you're focused on the right now and focused on what is your energy want to do right now. And so learning to watch the thinker and just let my emotions and thoughts be what they are and know that that's not me. It's just simply a part of my human experience. Like, my soul is just watching those emotions happen and, like, processing them. I love journaling, stand by journaling, okay? Everybody needs a journal. Everybody needs a journal.
You need a few things, but I feel like a journal that's one of my things too.
Yes, so, a journal was so essential. So literally staying in that journal, allowing my feelings to just flow out and just be like, hey, I know that these feelings are not me. They don't represent me, but this is what I'm feeling right now. Why am I feeling this? And then it was learning to dig deeper into every feeling. Like, why am I feeling this? Like,
that's scary though sometimes.
It is.
It's so scary sometimes.
It is, but it's so many little things that stick with you along the way. I remember I heard this one lady speak, and she was like, discover your landmines. Like, uncover your hidden landmines. So when things anger you and trigger you, that's you discovering, okay, that's something within me that's like a bomb area. Like, okay, why is that? Why is that a landmine for me? Why is that going to cause this reaction? And like healing that within yourself. So every time I would catch myself having these reactions, I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm hurt. Like, what am I feeling? I feel rejected, abandoned. All of the emotions.
What triggered that?
What is that within me? Because you can blame external things, or you made me feel this way. You caused this to happen. Like, but it's really what's within
inside of you.
Something's in you that's causing that reaction.
It's really something in me that's making this, like, not more bigger, because I feel like your feelings are valid. Yeah. But I feel like sometimes it's like, that person probably did call you stupid. That might have made you mad. But
it's because you feel like you stupid a little bit.
You stupid. Your mom might have not thought you were the smartest growing up, and she might have projected that onto you. Mm-hmm. Now when somebody call you stupid, all 10, 15 plus years of you being mad about that, it
comes out. Now you got these insecurity, you projecting, you upset, and it's this emotional reaction. So people can do things to you, but you can't be the victim. You got to own everything you feel and every thought that you have and every experience you go through. Like, what is it within me? Like, I don't look at the outside, play the blame game, and you did this, especially like relationships. Like, you did this to me, and you hurt me in this way, and you did that. Yeah, but it's like, no, what is it within me that allowed this to
like manifest your
exactly.
For sure. I feel like I've definitely had like a moment of grief too, I feel like. And like you said, just kind of grieving a life that you thought you were going to have. Mm-hmm. I feel like that really resonated with me, just because like when I was part of the Forex movement. I think I told you that before. I was one of the Forexers. Like, I was really big in it. Like, I was a person that was I was really successful in it. I mean, I don't know how to say it. I was really successful in it. I was very passionate about it. And, like, not even more so, like, the money side and, like, trading and all that stuff. I feel like the money was, like, that was easy. Like, once you learn how to trade, it's, like, whatever. But, like, for me, I was, like, doing network marketing. So, like, for me, it was, like, okay, like, that was the first time. Yeah, that was the first time I actually got to, like, that was the first time I felt like I can share my story and, like, why I went through certain things growing up, like, made sense. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like people would see it and, like, have their own perception or whatever was going on, but I feel like what people don't understand or what people just didn't know is like I would have conversations with girls. I actually just saw the craziest thing. I actually just saw this morning, 2 years ago, on my close friends. I had put how I was talking to this girl from California. And she was telling me how she just had lost her father due to COVID, and how she just needed a sign to like keep going. And she had saw like, you know, like I guess somebody on my team about like trading and like this opportunity. And I just remember speaking to her and just remembering like pouring into her and being like, this is why I love this so much. Like I get to share with people my story, the things that I've gone through, and I could tell you like, okay, if I've gone through this and I can get past it and I really got through it, like so can you. I feel like that was the first time I really got to pour myself out to people, and like literally I kid you not, like I always will respect that era of my life, because I feel like that was really when I learned how to like be empty. And I don't know, I just will never take that. I just really loved it so much. It really helped me to get out of my comfort zone. And I feel like once God told me like that was like a season that had to, really when he told me that was only a season, it was very, very hard for me to be like, yeah, I'm done. Wow. Like it was really hard for me to stop, because I had quit my job from Chase. I took a break from school at the time to just pretty much go full-fledged. Like I'm about to make 6 figures. Like I was very, very close to making 6 figures. I'm like, at the time I was 21. I'm about to be 21 making 6 figures. Like I have my own place, like blah, blah, blah. I'm like let me go full-fledged. Like let me do what I gotta do this. Like, right. And I'm like, I was very, very close. And I remember it being so hard. Like I think I said in the last podcast, but for conversation sake, I was 7 people away from making 6 figures basically. So I remember like it just keep being like a pull, and I'm like I kept getting close, then getting pulled farther away, then close. And I remember like I'm praying every day. Like I'm going to Bible. I don't think I was going to Bible class actually at this time, but I was like watching church online, watching sermons. Like I was personally doing personal development every morning. Like I was super structured during that time. So I'm like, God, like what?
Or why you not giving it?
Like, let's see. I'm trying different ways to like build my business, to like market. I'm trying everything like at this point. And I remember like going on a fast, and it's so funny what you will convince yourself of. I remember going on a fast, and the fast was for the whole month of June. When I tell you something bad happened every day during that fast, like to the point where I just started back fasting again like last year. Like the fast had literally made me like so scared. I'm like, God, I mean, I know I said I was going to fast to starve my flesh and get some answers, but I didn't think it was going to be this.
Right.
Literally something bad though was happening every day. People were leaving my business. People who were like big pillars like in my business were leaving.
And this is what I was going to ask you. Do you feel like God was making something bad happen that wasn't necessarily bad, but was pushing you to let you see that, hey, I'm trying to pull you out of this season. So what you felt like was bad was like, God, you in a fast. Now I'm going to amplify it and pull you out of here. Like somebody got to go. Somebody got to go.
Yeah. It's crazy because like now, for sure. In that moment, I'm like, okay, God, you want me to go harder? Okay, bet. I'm like, I'm ambitious.
That's literally what you convince yourself of. Like, okay, God, I'm gonna lock in. That's how it was with school. Like, I can do this. Like, okay, I got my new study schedule. I'm gonna just lock in harder. Like, okay, new planner. Like, what you want me to do? I'm here.
Like, yes, exactly. So it's crazy because yes, like now looking back at it, I feel like I went through like so much, because I feel like a part of me also too, like that was like a part of my identity. And like now looking at that, like God, so crazy, because God is not gonna let you be involved in anything that you think is your identity and like let you like flourish pretty much. Like God was like, Kennedy, like you think this is your identity? Now I have to take it away from you.
God will do that in so many ways, and I think it's to prove that your identity is only in God. Like God will take you out of every life you've ever known, relationship, situation, everything.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like that's one, remembering that everything is seasonal and just appreciating the moments for what they are.
Yeah.
And learning how to recognize those signs. Like, okay, I'm meeting so much resistance right now. Like, God, you must be trying to direct me somewhere else. But in our minds, we want what we want so bad, and we think it makes sense. Like, God, you brought me here. Like, you clearly want this for me too. You feel like God brought you to this point. Like,
so for what?
For what? I must keep doing this. But it's like, no, God could just be doing some work in you for that season and had you there. And okay, time's up, time to go.
And I think that's a really good point. Like, that is such a good point, because I feel like when you're in a season and you feel like, okay, God, if you brought me here, I have to see it through. And God will always see you through, but I feel like sometimes how you see it through
is not what you expect. Not what you expected. Like the way, when I tell you, before I dropped out, I'm praying, God, motivation, like help me refine my why in school. I'm locking back in, trying to completely say that, but I'm meeting so much resistance, just internal resistance, that I can't physically do this anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm praying for, like, I'm going to get to do this, and I'm going to feel this way, and I'm going to feel free finally. And it was just, what I thought I was praying for was to just be motivated in school, but God was like, no, this freedom you're looking for is not here.
Yeah, it's
like,
in me.
It's in me. Like, you need to follow your spirit, trust your spirit, go where. And I feel like God does this in so many ways. Like, anything you tie your identity to. Like, I thought, I'm a student. Like, I've been a student my whole life. Who the heck am I outside of school?
Yeah.
Even like my Instagram just got deleted. Like,
it's crazy because I actually last night was just looking for your Instagram.
Yeah, my Instagram got deleted, and I honestly just went through a little grief period about that. Like, at first I'm like, okay, I don't care. Like, it's cool, it's just Instagram. But then I'm like, no, all my memories, my whole life, like my whole life, all my pictures, all my milestones that I've crossed thus far, like everything is gone. Like, my whole, and it's like, I got the memories, but it's not public no more. Like, how you gonna see it? And it's like, God is like, no, like, I'm gonna start you completely from scratch, and you gotta be okay with that. Like, my affirmation last week was like, I'm okay with starting completely from scratch, and
He will strip you.
Being okay with that, and learn how to be excited in that. That like, okay, everything can go, but God only has something better. Like, you know, mentally, like, God does that work within you enough that you just like know in your spirit and in your soul that like, it only gets better. Like,
it has to.
It only, like,
that's what his words say.
Yes, it has to. It only gets better. It's only gonna be more perfect and more aligned for me. So if God takes everything I've ever known away from my life right now, okay, yeah, this sucks. Yeah, it hurts, but I'm gonna appreciate those moments for what they were. I'm gonna appreciate the lessons that I got out of that. Yeah. And now it's okay. Let me find the excitement. I'm excited for this next season. I'm excited for where I'm at right now. I'm excited for new opportunities. Like, even being here right now on this podcast, like, y'all care about my story? Like, it's like, wow, I'm being a keynote speaker at U of I tomorrow at a whole comp, right? Yeah. But it's like, that's crazy.
You gotta tell them too at the end.
Yeah, okay, so I just tell you right now, I'm speaking at the Women of Color Conference at U of I. It's the 34th annual conference, and I'm the freaking keynote speaker. Like,
I love that.
But it's like, that's crazy.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But it's like, God will literally take you away from different seasons, different situations, and propel you where you're supposed to be. Like, we'll get relationships a little bit. I had a very long-term relationship that it was a good relationship at first, and you know, those relationships turn into situationships. And I just found out that he is having a baby, and that was like oh my God, like,
it was like a little.
Yeah, like, I was definitely sad for a whole day. Definitely was like,
a day is better than because it could have been like
it could have been way worse. But I'm like, okay, God, you prepared me for this moment. Like, you brought me here and did all this work within me. That, okay, yeah, that was just, you know, an era of my life, and now I feel like we're stepping into a new era, and I feel like everybody has to get excited about that, because I feel like we're all in that season right now, stepping into
a new
era, new territory. We're all unlocking this next phase of our lives, and it's like, how do we navigate it? We don't know. We just got to go with the motions.
You got to go with the motions, but I think, like you said, you do have to be excited, and I think that even, like, for me, like, when I was, like, coming out of that grief, it's like you do have to find that joy that you were talking about. Like you have to find some type of joy, because it's like, yeah, you're being stripped from something that you thought was going to be X, Y, and Z, a life you thought you were going to have. But you got to remember, like, at the end of the day, it's God's will over my will, like, every single time.
And you got to only want what God wants for you.
You have to only want what God wants. And sometimes it's scary. And I feel like people don't realize that God knows that it might be scary for you. He knows that it might be a challenge. I was gonna say he doesn't care, but he doesn't mind that it's scary.
It's
for
good
you.
for you.
Yeah, like it's a good thing. It's
a growth moment. Yes,
exactly.
It's a growth moment, and
Whatever
I feel like that's why
that
joy, like that they talk about in the Bible, like the fruits of the Spirit, how joy is so like everlasting, because it's internal. Like no matter how life is gonna have highs and lows, like that's just the way life goes. It's gonna be up and down, and those downs are just preparing you for your next high. You learn lessons, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
But that joy is so internal, and like you can't attach that to anything that you're doing, any title that you have, any person that you're with, or anything in your life aside from God and your spirit. So that's why you gotta get into doing your personal work, like journaling, Bible plans, like catering to your spirit. And I feel like your excitement is the best guide to lead you where you're meant to go in life. Like, okay, am I excited about this? And sometimes that can change. You gotta be okay with letting it change in different seasons.
No, I think you do, because like even the Bible says, God will give you peace that like passes all understanding. And I feel like even with joy, I feel like that kind of like, goes hand in hand. Like you might not know what the next looks like, and that sometimes just does not. Next don't really matter. So I feel like just like learning to be like okay with whatever's next, and there's always gonna be a season, so you're never gonna just stay in one place
at all. Like you can get comfortable in this season all you want to, but I hope you appreciate. Okay, I hope you appreciate these moments, because when it's over, it's just over.
It's a wrap. And it's something I had posted on my Instagram. Oh, I don't know, man. Call me, I had posted something on Instagram, and it was talking about like how people sometimes get mad about their like seasons and like when seasons end, but it's like, oh, here it is. It's like, don't confuse your destiny with your assignment. Your assignment will help prepare you for your destiny. Your assignment is not your end all be all. Learn to be obedient and move on. Stop idolizing your season. And I remember that being during my grief.
One of those things that just changed the perspective for you. Okay.
Perspective is everything.
Perspective is everything. Like your perspective rules your life. Like what's my little favorite quote that I live by is like, no matter what may come in my life, I'll never make my mind unhappy, because it's all mental. It's your perspective.
It's everything. And I just remember like when I had posted that, I'm just like, people, like I say people, but I'm talking about me.
Okay.
Maybe I'm talking about me. Just realizing like like every season has to come to an end, and just really internalizing and realizing every season gives you something for the next season.
And like every ending is just a new beginning.
Exactly. And just learning how to like get out of that grief and out of that funk, and being like, okay, like even though this is ending and it might suck and it might hurt, and you might have just started to get the groove of it, but it's like, okay, what did you learn that you can take to the next
Literally,
season?
What was God preparing within you? Literally, within this season. And I feel like it's okay to allow yourself to have grief. So like, know that it's normal important. And allow yourself to feel those feelings. Get in your journal. Get in your journal and feel them feelings.
But you never know.
You never, like, and then you look back on it years later, and it's like you see the growth within you. But get in your journal, go through those grief moments, but don't allow yourself to stay there or stay stuck in it. You gotta like. And I feel like that's where people go wrong. A lot of people get stuck in that sadness and in that grief, because they're so attached to what they thought they wanted. Well, to what they wanted, because it is still what they wanted, but they don't realize, like, hey, I got to want what God wants for me. I got to move on from this. Like, that just wasn't for me anymore. Like, it was that season, and that was not.
It was, but it's not. Yeah, for sure.
It was, like, but it's not no more.
If you would be.
But I feel like God does his work. And when you really fully trust in him and fully just have faith that everything is going to work out for your highest good, and you know that God is aligning all the pieces and all the places and sending you everything that you need along your path, it's like, okay, like, I'm good. I'm good.
I think one of the biggest things that I'll say before we wrap it up a little bit is I feel like right now, like faith, like God has like really been working on my faith. Yeah, he has. But I just think that like even with that, it's like it says like to have faith of a mustard seed, which is like so like a mustard seed is so small, right? Mm-hmm. Like God is not asking us to have huge faith. He's just asking us to have faith. If you believe, like He'll do the rest.
Yes.
And I feel like it is a very scary thing when like you don't see it at like physically, you don't see it like in the actual world, like you don't see it,
but you could know it in your spirit a little bit.
You just know that He's gonna take care like of whatever He said. I know for me, like to help with my faith recently, I'm trying to put y'all on because this is new for me. So, I've been writing down like challenges or like whatever promises God has said like He's gonna do, and then when it comes to pass and He makes good on His word, I write that down too, so I can go back and be like,
remember, like, okay, yeah, I went through this waiting period, but God always delivers, and it's a little reminder, like, little confirmation. Okay, He did it this time, He did it this time,
that time. He is not a man that's gonna lie.
Okay, at this point, I just wait, and sometimes the answer doesn't look like what you thought the answer was gonna look like. You just go through these motions, and you're going through it. But I feel like faith is just the biggest thing of it all, because you don't really see how society kind of pulls you away from faith and kind of puts that fear inside of you, or how you have this limited mindset. Like, I'll talk about my mom a little bit. Like, she gets very worried about like a stable and solid career, and that's just how she grew up. Like, that's something she was searching for, trying to get for herself. And like, I was raised with the stability. Like, that's not necessarily a fear of mine because I've always had it. So I don't have that fear ingrained inside of me. So me stepping away from med school to her unleashes that fear within her. So she's like, no, like, how are you going to be successful? How are you going to build generational wealth? How are you going to do what you need to do? And it's like, no, my identity is in God. Like, God said, I can do this, and I'm
a child of God. He said, whatever is His is mine.
Okay, so I was literally getting my hair done however many weeks ago.
I loved it.
Thank you. But I was getting my hair done. This lady in the hair shop just overheard my mom talking about how I dropped out of med school. And she gonna take the time to pull me aside. And, I respect it. I see she trying to do something nice. But she like, you're gonna regret not being a doctor. You want to go back to med school. Like, just go back and finish and get your degree, because you're gonna wish that you had it, and you're gonna wish that. But I'm at a point now that what I learned how to be confident, how to silence out that noise. And I'm like, respectfully, like, I hear what you're saying. I see where you're speaking from, but you're speaking from, a limited mindset a little bit.
And that's you.
That's you, and that's cool. But like, I got my faith in God, and if God wants to send me back there, I'm not saying like it's a never. I didn't ixnay it. God did. Shoot, right? Like, I didn't decide that I didn't want to do this. I was really trying to force it. I couldn't anymore. Yeah. Like, I had to have faith in God, and when I say I'm so much more fulfilled in my life and so much more happy, so much more at peace, and I just want everybody to feel like this. I think everybody's supposed to, and I think if everybody genuinely went after, we all are created uniquely for a reason. We all have our unique interests, our unique drives, our unique seasons, the things that we've gone through, our unique past.
Of course.
And if everybody truly followed their interests, the world could be such a better place. Like, imagine everybody loved their job. Like, when you go to the grocery store and like the man,
and everybody's like, hey,
the man
need help. Like, what are we cooking for dinner? Like,
exactly. Versus like the people that's irritated, they got attitude. Now you just throw out somebody else's day because you upset with your day. And it's just like, if everybody could feel so fulfilled and at peace within their life, but that just comes from having faith. Like, when you have enough faith to trust God and genuinely follow your spirit every single day, like, you're gonna have that peace. You're gonna have that fulfillment. Yeah. And I think it's a chain reaction, because you inspire the next person, and you show the next person. They see that peace within you, and they're like, how you do that?
How
you
do that? What's that about?
I
think it's nothing more powerful. I don't remember what book this was off the top of my head. It might have been Untamed by Glennon Doyle, which is my favorite book.
I haven't read that one, so I add that to my list.
Every woman needs to read this book. I probably say that every podcast. So far. But
they're going to get the message.
They're going to get the message.
You got reinforcement.
Hit me up, girl. But it was just, I don't remember exactly what it said, but it was like nothing. It's like nothing more powerful than a woman who like is fully herself. Like, like hands down, undeniably, like living in her truth and in her power. And I feel like that's one of the things that like made me want to start this podcast. I'm like, me opening myself up and living in my truth, like, to inspire another woman or somebody else that looks like me to live in their truth too.
Exactly.
Like, that's crazy. That's powerful. And I think that it's important for you to do what you're supposed to do. I'm supposed to do what I'm supposed to do. My best friend's supposed to do what she's supposed to do, because
everybody has living their purpose.
Everybody has living their purpose, and you never know like whose journey is like connected to yours. You don't know who you're supposed to save along your journey. You don't know who you're supposed to pull along.
Yes.
And you won't know that if you're not like on your path and doing what you're supposed to do.
Doing what you're supposed to do. Like you can't be trying to be like this person or taking notes or I want to do this like this person. Like, it's good to be inspired, but be you. Look inside yourself. Like, even when people ask questions about like, oh, I'm seeing these angel numbers, what does that mean? Only you know what that means for you. Like, it's little stuff like only you can guide your own life. Yeah. Only you know what you're supposed to do. Like, you can look at somebody who posted on TikTok 18 times a day and be like, oh, I got to do this. But if your spirit don't feel like posting 18 times a day, you could post not any of those days and then just post on the 18th day because your spirit felt like posting that day, and your video go up and go viral because that's what you're supposed to do. Like, you got to follow your own guidelines, follow the God. Like how they say God's spirit lives within each of us. Like, there's one universal God, but God is within each of us to be who we're supposed to be and to live our own lives, follow our own path. And so I feel like if everybody just trusted themselves and trusted God and just...
Oh, I feel like that's a good one. Trusting yourself, like, it's I feel like it's... You hear it all the time, but it seems so cliche because I feel like we hear it, but it's like learning to trust yourself is like a weapon within itself. Yeah. And I feel like sometimes, like, we are fearful. When I say we, again, I'm just talking about me because,
agree.
I'm still, like, on my journey and, like, just dealing with different things. Like, I've been bold in the past, but now I'm just, like, realizing, like, certain things. It's, like, trigger points, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But,
find me a landmine.
Yeah, exactly, my landmines. So, like, when you're, I forgot what you were talking about. When we're walking...
Trusting yourself. Trusting yourself.
Like,
I be doing that.
Like, learning to trust yourself. I think that sometimes, like, it's scary. It's scary, obviously, because, like, you don't want to fail, you don't want to mess up. But just even thinking for myself, like, every time I thought I failed, God has picked me up and positioned me exactly where I was supposed to be.
Yes.
So it's like, looking back at it, like, even thinking about it now, like, I've never really failed. I've just been repositioned many, many times.
Yes.
And that's okay.
Literally, one of my things I learned along my journey was learn that God had everything written, like, accepting and trusting the fact that God has this all planned out. God knows exactly what I'm going to do. God knows the decisions I'm going to make more than likely. And if he don't, like, he already had it worked out. So it's like, except that I can't make any mistakes because God already has all this written. So if I trust myself to do what I'm supposed to do, God already had this covered. Like, God knew what I was going to do. God knew where I was mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And he knew what that was going to guide me to do in this season. So if I trust myself, right decision, it's always the right decision because it's going to lead you, like you said, reposition. Like, I'm where I need to be. It's either going to work out or it's going to redirect. Like, either way, you're good.
It's good,
No mistakes can be made because God already has it written.
Never young.
Yeah.
Like, we're young, like,
we're young, like,
we're so much redirecting that I feel like is, or positioning in general, that's gonna take place anyway. So it's like just getting out of your own way. It's like, I feel like even for me, like, sometimes I want my hand too much, like, involved with what's going on. Like, okay, guys, so what's next? Like, okay, what's next? What's going on? And it's like, God already had, like, when I was in my mother's stomach, when I was in her womb, God already said, Kennedy's gonna do this. Kennedy's, skip what I'm gonna do. Kennedy's gonna be this. Kennedy's gonna be that.
Literally, ooh, that's a good point. Now what I'm gonna do, who is she gonna be?
Exactly.
Right.
And I'm like,
what is she gonna go through? How am I gonna grow this within her spirit?
Exactly.
Like, who is this person she's going to become?
Exactly.
And God already knew who you were gonna become, and it's not attached to what you do. It's not attached to your title. It's not attached to the people around you. It's not attached to where you live. It's
who
a
you
matter
are.
of who you
it's
are
inside of me. And I feel like when I was on the plane, like, that was one thing that God told me. It was like, God just wants to rebuild the woman you are, so, for real this time. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not about what I do, because what I do, I'm gonna be great whatever I do. That's just who I am. That's how God made me. But it's like, what kind of woman am I? Do I bear the fruits of the Spirit? Am I loving? Am I patient? Am I caring? Do I have integrity? And it's like, do I know how to steward things well? It's like, I know the type of one. I know the type of things I want to do. But it's like I have to be the type of woman that has to be that gets those things done. It's a certain type of woman. So I feel like just like even just thinking about all the things that I've like experienced, it's like I would not have the confidence. I would not have had the type of faith to even trailblaze through any of those things, or even the things that are in the future, if I did not be able to say, if God could do that, baby, He could do anything.
Exactly. So, and I be referring to those as like your becoming seasons, and I think it's good to know.
I like that.
Yeah, I think it's good to know that like those are gonna keep happening. Yeah, we're in a becoming season, and they're gonna keep coming. Like you're gonna be in a becoming season, then you gonna have your little flourishing season, I'm being season. Like okay, I'm here at my next level, and then guess what? You're gonna have another becoming season. But learning to embrace that. Okay, because I'm still having another becoming season, that means God is still working in me, and I'm only getting even better than I am right now. Like it's like getting recharged up to go to the next level. Like okay. All right, God, you sent me to the next level. Okay, I thought I was high. I thought I was good. But you say next level. Okay, we back in the becoming season. We back internal. We back in the journal. We back in the word. We back in figuring out my identity again. And my identity is just in God. But like, who am I? How do I present myself to the world in this season?
What does the world know me as?
Exactly. I know my spirit, but like, who does the world know me as in this season?
Because that's important.
It is, like, because we got to live here.
Like, I'm the only person that think I'm a good person.
Yeah, how do I show up in this season? And so it's just being able to go through those becoming season and embracing it. Like, okay, this is good. This is good for my spirit. This is good for my soul. It's good for my elevation. Like, God is making me into the woman He wants me to become right now. And like, becoming seasons are essential for real.
Yes. And, oh, I'm loving this conversation.
Like,
thank you for
this was so natural. We just
when it's real, you just know.
Literally, just
when it's in you, it's in you.
When it's in you, it's in you. It just spills out of you. So it's just like we just have no talk. We just here.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to just see where God takes you. Like what, like your flourishing season like looks like. Because I feel like you've like been like God has already like established. God already did that for you. So I'm just excited to see like where Beauty and Brains, like where it goes, like where all this, like wherever God takes you. I'm just really excited to see, and I support you.
No,
I stand by you.
Okay, same for you, sis. Yes. Like I feel like God is doing all the work within you, and everything you touch is going to flourish.
Oh, thank you.
I'm here along journey. We'll connect. We're gonna be good. Yeah, we here. We're gonna be connected many more times.
Yes,
so
of course.
It's exciting to see us here in this season, and also know like where God is leading us.
Yeah, like, for sure. I'm excited. Yeah. So, again, thank you for coming.
Thank you
for being a guest. Like,
of course.
Just this really does mean a lot to me. So really just appreciate you for being vulnerable, for sharing your story. I'm sure so many people are gonna agree and just say the same thing. So thank you for being here. And is there anything you want to say?
No, just thank you for having me. I love this conversation. Reminder to everybody, getting your journal, getting your Bible plans, and
do all of that.
Embrace your becoming seasons.
Yes. So guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Therapy Fridays podcast. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.